In this special video, I'm going to show you why nothing in life happens by chance. It might sound exaggerated, but I assure you that everything, absolutely everything, happens for a reason. Even those situations that seem like obstacles or challenges are actually pieces of a much larger plan. Think about this. Every person who comes into your life, every experience, even the most difficult ones, has a hidden purpose. Has it ever happened to you that you meet someone at the perfect moment? Or when something as simple as missing the bus seems frustrating, but later you realize it was exactly what you needed? The universe doesn't make mistakes, and today I'm going to explain how understanding this will help you live more consciously and in harmony. The final revelation will surprise you. Before we start, if you find value in these videos, please subscribe and click the bell to stay updated. Let's begin. Have you ever had a strong gut feeling that felt like the universe was speaking to you directly? Get ready to dive into the fascinating world of synchronicities, those mind-blowing coincidences that defy all logical explanation. And no, we're not talking about your daily horoscope. Imagine this. You're thinking about an old friend you haven't seen in years and suddenly, ring. Your phone rings and guess who it is? Coincidence or something more? Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychologist, had a theory about this. He called it synchronicity. And no, it's not the name of a new rock band. But what makes a synchronicity different from a simple coincidence? Well, it's like comparing love at first sight to bumping into someone on the street. Synchronicity has a deep personal meaning, while a coincidence is just an oops, what a coincidence, without much significance. And if you think this only happens to ordinary people, get ready to be surprised. History is full of synchronicities that seem straight out of a science fiction movie. Remember the Titanic? Well, 14 years before its sinking, a writer named Morgan Robertson wrote a novel about a ship called the Titan that sank on its maiden voyage. Same route, same month, same number of passengers. Creepy, right? Modern science is starting to back up this idea of interconnection. Quantum physics shows us that at the subatomic level, particles can be entangled, influencing each other across distances that defy our classic understanding of space-time. But let's not just stick to theory. Dr. Manuel Segarra, a fascinating researcher whom I deeply admire for his unique way of seeing the world, offers an even more intriguing perspective. Through his studies on near-death experiences, NDEs, Dr. Segarra has reached an astonishing conclusion. Chance, as we understand it, simply doesn't exist. Does that sound radical? Wait, it gets even more interesting. According to Dr. Segarra, what we perceive as randomness is actually the result of a universal quantum consciousness at work. It's as if the universe were a grand conductor, coordinating every note of our lives in a cosmic symphony. Every experience, every encounter, every coincidence has a greater purpose, even if we're often unaware of it. And he's not alone in this thought. None other than Albert Einstein, the genius of modern physics, shared a similar vision. Einstein asserted that coincidence doesn't exist. What we call chance or coincidence is actually the way this universal consciousness anonymously acts in our lives. It's as if the universe were playing hide and seek with us, leaving subtle clues in the form of synchronicities. But how do we apply this to our daily lives? The key is to pay attention, to look for patterns and meaning in the events of our lives. Every experience, even those that seem negative, could be a clue in the great mystery of our personal purpose. Imagine you lose your job. From a conventional perspective, this might seem like a disaster. But what if it's the universe pushing you toward a better opportunity? Maybe that job was limiting you, and now you have the chance to pursue your true passion. Synchronicity invites us to see life as a grand adventure full of meaning. Every encounter, every challenge, every coincidence could be a sign, guiding us toward our true path. It's as if the universe is constantly whispering to us, and our task is to learn how to listen. Those small daily decisions can lead you to incredible places. But what happens when life throws you an obstacle, the size of a mountain? It turns out that your brain has a hidden superpower to transform those difficult moments into springboards for success. Imagine for a moment that every challenge you face is actually a gift from the universe. Sounds crazy, right? But the ancient Stoics had a fascinating idea called amor fati, which means love of fate. These philosophers believed that embracing everything that happens to us, even the bad, is the key to a full life. It's as if the universe were a cosmic personal trainer, designing personalized obstacles to make you stronger. And this isn't just ancient philosophy. Modern science supports this idea. Your brain is like a muscle that gets stronger with each challenge. Thanks to neuroplasticity, every time you face a difficulty, your brain creates new connections, making you more resilient and adaptable. It's like every problem is a workout session for your mind. But how do we put this into practice? Here's a simple technique: reframing. The next time you face a problem, ask yourself, what opportunity is hidden here? It's like playing detective, looking for the positive side of every situation. Did you lose your job? Maybe it's the chance to pursue that passion you've always postponed. Did a relationship end? Perhaps it's your opportunity to rediscover yourself. Optimism plays a crucial role in all of this. It's not about being naively positive, but about maintaining an attitude of, I can handle this. Studies show that optimistic people are not only happier, but also more resilient when facing challenges. It's like having an invisible shield against stress. Now, get ready for the most shocking revelation. That apparent disaster in your life could be your greatest blessing in disguise. History is full of examples. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded. That disaster led him to create Pixar and eventually return to Apple to revolutionize technology. It's as if the universe gave him a push to reach his true potential. I invite you to do an exercise. Think about the biggest challenge you're facing right now. Now imagine that 5 years from now, you look back and realize that this challenge was the turning point that changed your life for the better. What opportunities might you be overlooking? What lessons could you learn? What skills could you develop by overcoming it? Remember what we talked about regarding seeing opportunities in obstacles? Well, failure is the ultimate obstacle, the final boss in the video game of life. But here's the twist. That final boss isn't there to defeat you, but to teach you. Our culture has programmed us to fear failure as if it were the plague. We avoid it at all costs, hide it, and feel ashamed of it. But what if I told you that this mentality is robbing us of our best opportunities for growth? A study from Stanford University revealed something fascinating. People who fear failure tend to avoid challenging situations. It's like we're dodging the mental gym that would make us stronger. But here's the interesting part. Another study showed that those who experience failure and reflect on it develop a deeper understanding and improve their problem-solving skills. Remember those sticky notes you use for everything. They were born from a failure. The adhesive that was supposed to be super strong turned out to be weak. Instead of throwing it away, the scientists at 3M saw an opportunity. Boom, the Post-it was born. It's like the universe said, you wanted to stick things? Here now you can stick notes everywhere. And it's not an isolated case. An analysis of 200 entrepreneurs revealed that those who had failed at least once were 30% more likely to succeed in their future projects. It's as if failure were a secret university where you learn the lessons that really matter. In the world of science and technology, they have a cool term, productive failure. It sounds contradictory, right? But many groundbreaking discoveries came from experiments that went wrong. It's like the universe said, you didn't find what you were looking for, but look what I gave you instead. Here's the secret. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. It's like the training before the big game, the rehearsals before the concert. Every time you fail, your brain rewires itself, adapts, and gets stronger. You're developing your resilience muscle, your ability to get up and keep going. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls it a growth mindset. It's the idea that our abilities are not fixed, but can be developed through effort and, yes, through failure. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Every failure is a stepping stone toward success. Speaking of a growth mindset, have you ever thought that your mind could be the most powerful GPS you have? The way you narrate your own story doesn't just determine your destiny, it also attracts experiences that confirm that narrative. Are you ready to reprogram your internal GPS? Imagine for a moment that you could rewrite the script of your life. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, It turns out that science tells us that, in a way, you're already doing it. Every day, without realizing it, you are constructing the narrative of your life, making sense of your experiences, and deciding what they mean to you. But here's the interesting part. These narratives aren't just stories we tell ourselves. According to psychologists, they have a real impact on our decisions and actions. It's like we're programming our own mental software. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good at math, do you think you'll try very hard on your next exam? Probably not. This is where the concept of narrative identity comes in. It's not just a fancy term psychologists use to impress at parties. It refers to how we build our identity through the stories we tell about ourselves. It's as if we're the directors, screenwriters, and protagonists of our own movie. But don't worry if your current movie feels more like a comedy of errors than an epic blockbuster. Narrative therapy offers us tools to transform those limiting stories. One powerful technique is externalizing the problem. Instead of saying, "I'm a mess," you could say, "The mess is affecting my life." It seems like a small change, but it can have a huge impact. And here comes the most mind-blowing part. We are what we think. Our thoughts are like magnets, attracting situations and experiences that confirm our internal narrative. If you think the world is full of opportunities, what do you think you'll start seeing everywhere? Exactly, opportunities. Let me share a personal story. Exactly 1 year ago, on October 22nd, I uploaded my first video to YouTube. I was in a difficult situation, studying a major that didn't inspire me. I felt lost, but I decided to start this personal project as a way to express myself. What seemed like a bad decision at first, choosing the wrong career, has turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Now I have the incredible opportunity to be a teacher to millions of people, sharing my views on life and offering advice based on my own experiences. We've created a community where we can all support each other in our personal growth. And the best part is that this hasn't replaced my career, but complemented it in a way I never imagined. This change in my personal narrative didn't just transform my perspective, but also my actions and ultimately my reality. As psychologist Dan P. McAdams, an expert in narrative identity, says, "We are the stories we tell ourselves. When you change your story, you change your life." Just like my unexpected career turned into a blessing, sometimes what we think limits us is actually what sets us free. What if I told you that the secret to having more control over your life is letting go of control? Get ready to discover how science backs up this apparent contradiction. Imagine for a moment that you're holding on for dear life to something you desperately want. It could be a goal, a relationship, or even an idea of how your life should be. Sound familiar? Many of us fall into this trap, believing that if we control every detail, we'll achieve what we long for. But what if I told you that this approach might be pushing you further away from what you really want? The illusion of control is a fascinating psychological tendency. We believe we have the power to influence outcomes that are actually beyond our reach. It's like trying to control the weather with a rain dance. It might make us feel better, but it doesn't really change much, right? A study conducted in 2018 shed light on this phenomenon. Researchers found that people who try to exert excessive control over their lives experience higher levels of anxiety and depression. It's as if our desire to have everything under control is robbing us of the peace of mind we so desperately seek. But not all is lost. There's a concept called flow, developed by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, that could be the key to freeing ourselves from this mental trap. Imagine a state where you're so immersed in an activity that time seems to stop. There's no stress, no anxiety, just you in perfect harmony with what you're doing. That's flow. What's curious is that this state is reached when we let go of control, when we stop obsessing over the outcome and dive into the process. It's like dancing. If you focus too much on not making mistakes, your movements become stiff and unnatural. But when you let the music guide you, that's when you really shine on the dance floor. Mindfulness practices are powerful tools to help us let go of control. Imagine your mind is like a turbulent river full of worrying thoughts. Meditation teaches you to sit on the riverbank and watch those thoughts pass by without getting swept away by them. Over time, The river calms down, and you gain clarity. But perhaps the most surprising thing is how acceptance can lead to better results than resistance. A study published in the Journal of Happiness Studies in 2020 revealed that people who practice acceptance of their circumstances tend to experience less stress and greater satisfaction with life. It's as if, by stopping the fight against the current, we discover that the river is actually carrying us exactly where we need to go. Before moving on to the next point, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell so you don't miss future videos. By the way, I have a surprise for you. I'm working on my ebook titled Wisdom for Living, and once it's available, I'll send you the link to get it. If you want to be the first to receive it, comment, "I love wisdom" down below. Let's keep learning and improving our lives together. Letting go of control is just the beginning. Now get ready for a journey into the very heart of uncertainty. What if I told you that the greatest geniuses in history didn't fear the unknown, they embraced it? Einstein, Fleming, even you and I, all have something in common. Our best moments are born out of chaos. Speaking of chaos, have you ever heard of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? No, it's not the name of an indie rock band. It's a concept from quantum physics that says we can't know both the position and the velocity of a particle with precision at the same time. The more we know about one, the less we know about the other. Sound familiar? It's like when you try to control your life. The more you try to have everything under control, the more it slips through your fingers. But don't be discouraged, because this principle doesn't just apply to microscopic particles. In our lives, uncertainty can be the driving force behind creativity and innovation. Think about great inventors and artists. They didn't follow a step-by-step manual, they leapt into the unknown. It's as if uncertainty were the blank canvas where we paint our greatest works. A study found that people who are more tolerant of ambiguity tend to be more creative. It's as if having an open mind to the unknown allows us to see possibilities others miss. Can you imagine what would happen if, instead of fearing the unknown, you saw it as an amusement park full of opportunities? But how can we increase our tolerance for ambiguity? Here are a few techniques. First, practice mindfulness. Observe your thoughts without judging them, as if they were clouds passing by in the sky. Second, gradually expose yourself to uncertain situations. It's like training a muscle. You start with light weights and build up. And third, cultivate curiosity. Ask questions, explore, be like a child seeing the world for the first time. History is full of examples of how uncertainty has been the breeding ground for great discoveries. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin by accident when one of his culture plates became contaminated. Instead of discarding it, his curiosity led him to investigate further. The result? He saved millions of lives. It's as if the universe said, "Hey, look what happens when you're not afraid to explore the unexpected." And here comes the most important revelation. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It's the space where infinite possibilities are born. It's like an uncultivated garden. It may seem chaotic, but it's full of potential. Every seed of doubt can grow into a tree of opportunities if you give it the chance to flourish. Have you ever thought that your mind could be a quantum mirror of reality? Imagine for a moment that every thought, every expectation you have, is shaping the world around you. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it turns out that quantum physics has something to say about this. In the fascinating world of quantum physics, there's something called the observer effect. This phenomenon suggests that the simple act of observing can influence the outcome of an experiment. It's as if the universe is playing hide and seek with us, changing depending on how we look at it. But what does this mean for our everyday life? Imagine that your mind is like a lens through which you perceive the world. Your expectations, beliefs, and attitudes act as filters that color your reality. That's why two people can experience the same event in completely different ways. It's not that one is right and the other wrong. They're simply tuning into different frequencies of the same reality. Let's talk about the placebo effect, that magical phenomenon where a sugar pill can cure real ailments. How is that possible? The key lies in expectation. When you firmly believe that something will help you, your body responds accordingly. It's as if your mind sends a memo to all your cells saying, "Attention, the cure is on the way." And surprisingly, it works. But beware, because this coin has two sides. Just as the placebo effect exists, we also have its evil twin, the nocebo effect. Here, your negative expectations can literally make you feel worse. It's as if your mind is a film director creating the movie of your life, and you decide whether you want to shoot a comedy or a drama. Great thinkers throughout history have sensed this power of the mind over reality. Albert Einstein, for example, claimed that reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. He wasn't suggesting we live in a fantasy world, but rather that our perception plays a crucial role in how we experience the world. So how can we use this knowledge to our advantage? The key is in mental reprogramming. Imagine your mind as a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. What kind of seeds are you planting? Are you nurturing flowers of optimism or weeds of pessimism? One powerful technique is visualization. Elite athletes use it all the time. Before a competition, they imagine themselves executing the perfect routine. They're creating a reality in their mind that then translates into their physical performance. Why not apply this to your everyday life? Another valuable tool is the practice of gratitude. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you're tuning your mind to the positive frequencies of life. It's like adjusting the radio of your reality to the station of good vibes. Adjusting the radio of your reality is important, but what if the volume also mattered? There's an ancient practice that modern entrepreneurs are rediscovering: the power of strategic silence. How can not sharing your plans dramatically increase your chances of success? Imagine for a moment that your goals are like delicate seeds. They need a protected environment to grow strong before facing the outside world. Silence acts like that protective greenhouse, allowing your ideas to mature without external interference. But why exactly does this work? The answer lies in our brain and how it processes dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and reward. When we share our plans, our brain releases dopamine, giving us a sense of accomplishment. The problem is that this premature feeling of satisfaction can reduce our motivation to move forward with the actual plan. It's as if our brain says, "Great, we've told everyone about our amazing project. Mission accomplished, right?" And that's where many projects die before they even begin. I know many people who are always talking about what they're going to do, but rarely get around to doing it. The reason is simple. They've exhausted their motivation reserve by talking instead of acting. Additionally, sharing your plans prematurely can expose you to negative influences. Other people's opinions, though well-intentioned, can plant seeds of doubt or divert you from your original vision. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra while everyone in the audience shouts their own melodies. External noise can drown out your inner voice, the one that truly knows where you want to go. Silence also protects you from external pressure. When you announce your goals, you create expectations in others. These expectations can become an additional burden, adding unnecessary stress to your creative process. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of stones. Why add that extra weight if you can avoid it? But how does this relate to the idea that everything happens for a reason? Well, imagine the universe is a grand conductor. Each silence in your personal symphony is carefully placed to create maximum impact. Those moments when you hold back from talking about your dreams are strategic pauses the universe uses to align circumstances in your favor. Now, this doesn't mean you should become a hermit. The key is balance. Share your successes, not your plans. Let your actions speak for you. It's as if the universe is whispering, "Show them, don't tell them." Instead of saying, "I'm going to write a book," just write. Instead of announcing, "I'm going to start a business," start working on your business plan. Think of great innovators like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. They rarely reveal their projects until they're ready to launch. This strategy not only protects their ideas from competition, but also allows them to work without the pressure of public expectations. However, this doesn't mean you should completely isolate yourself. The trick is to carefully choose who and when to reveal your plans to. Seek out mentors or trusted people who can add real value to your project. And even then, share only what's necessary. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you have a big idea or goal, write it down on a piece of paper and store it somewhere safe. Every time you feel tempted to talk about it, go back to that paper and add one more step toward its realization. Turn that energy from talking into energy for doing. And speaking of tuning in, what if you could perfectly tune into the present moment? Imagine transforming every obstacle into an opportunity for growth, as if you had a superpower to turn lead into gold. Does that sound impossible? Well, get ready, because we're about to discover how the wisdom of the present moment can be your magic wand. The idea that everything happens for a reason takes on new meaning when we learn to be fully present. It's as if the universe is constantly whispering to us, but we can only hear it when we silence the mental noise. Pythagoras, the famous mathematician and philosopher, believed in the music of the spheres, a cosmic harmony that reflects the order of the universe. What if we could tune into that universal melody? Being here and now is not just a nice phrase, it's a powerful tool for navigating life. When we are present, we can see the subtle connections between events, those coincidences, that are actually signs of the path. It's as if each moment is a note in the symphony of our existence, and by paying attention, we can decipher the melody. But how can we apply this in our daily lives? Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam. The usual reaction would be to get frustrated, right? But what if you viewed that moment as an opportunity? Perhaps it's the universe giving you time to reflect or protecting you from an accident further down the road. By being present, you can transform that obstacle into a gift. Meditation is an excellent way to cultivate this presence. You don't need to be a Tibetan monk to practice it. You can start with just 5 minutes a day focusing on your breath. It's like tuning the antenna of your awareness to catch the signal of the present. Over time, you'll notice that you're more capable of finding the hidden purpose in every situation. Another powerful technique is the practice of mindful gratitude. Instead of just being thankful for obvious things, try to find the hidden blessing in challenges. Were you rejected in a job interview? Perhaps it's the universe guiding you toward a better opportunity. By being grateful even for difficulties, you're acknowledging that everything, absolutely everything, has a purpose. The idea that nothing is a coincidence becomes a lived experience when we are present. You start to notice patterns and synchronicities that previously went unnoticed. It's as if the universe is winking at you constantly, reminding you that you're part of something bigger. Tuning into your reality sounds great, but what do you do when life completely changes the station? Imagine that every obstacle, every closed door, is actually an invitation for growth. Are you ready to see how the most challenging experiences can transform your life in ways you never imagined? Life is like a roller coaster, full of ups and downs, unexpected twists, and moments that leave you breathless. Sometimes we're at the top, feeling like we can conquer the world, and other times we find ourselves at the bottom, wondering how we got there. But what if I told you that those low moments are just as valuable as the highs? Think about nature for a moment. Trees lose their leaves in the fall, seem dead in winter, but are reborn with strength in spring. It's a constant cycle of renewal. Our lives aren't so different. Every ending marks a new beginning, and every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. The famous psychologist Carl Jung once said, "There is no birth of consciousness without pain." It's a powerful phrase that reminds us that personal growth often comes with challenges. Those moments that make us question everything are precisely what push us to evolve. But let's be honest, when we're in the midst of a crisis, the last thing we want to hear is that everything happens for a reason. However, if we look back on our lives, how many times has a seemingly negative situation led us to something better? That job you lost pushed you to start your own business. That relationship that ended allowed you to find someone who truly values you. The key is to change our perspective. Instead of seeing changes as threats, we can view them as opportunities. It's as if life is telling us, hey, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and grow. Now, this doesn't mean that we should love our problems or seek suffering. It's not about being emotional masochists. It's about understanding that change, although sometimes painful, is the catalyst for our personal growth. Think about the process of exercising. When you lift weights, you're literally damaging your muscles. Sounds counterproductive, right? But it's precisely that controlled damage that allows your muscles to rebuild stronger. In the same way, the challenges of life exercise us emotionally, making us more resilient. An inspiring example is J.K. Rowling. Before becoming the famous author of Harry Potter, she was at her lowest, divorced, unemployed, and struggling with depression. But it was precisely in that dark moment that she began to write the saga that would change her life and the lives of millions of readers. She has said, "Failure meant stripping away the inessential. I stopped pretending to be anything other than myself." This leads us to a crucial point: authenticity. Often, moments of crisis force us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves who we really are. It's as if life is saying to us, stop pretending to be who you think you should be and be who you truly are. But be careful. We're not saying you should passively wait for life to hit you to grow. The key is to be proactive. As the saying goes, the best way to predict your future is to create it. This means taking action every day toward your goals, even when you don't feel motivated. My darkest and saddest moments have been when I haven't had a goal that motivated me to wake up each morning, eager to take on the world. It's vital to have a vision, a purpose that drives you. But here's the interesting part. That purpose can change over time, and that's okay. Life is a journey of continuous discovery. Another fundamental aspect is surrounding yourself with people who share your worldview. Not necessarily people who are exactly where you are. They could be further ahead or behind on the path. What matters is that they are on the same route, sharing the same spirit of growth and improvement. As a friend recently told me, knowledge is scattered. No one knows everything. We need each other to complete our understanding of the world. Everyone has something to teach us, even those we consider less successful or wise. This idea perfectly connects with a phrase I love. You can go fast alone, but you can go far together. Collaboration and mutual support not only make us stronger, but enrich our journey in ways we cannot achieve alone. Now, all of this sounds great in theory, but how do we apply it in practice? Here are some concrete tips. 1. Practice gratitude daily, even and especially in difficult moments. Look for something, no matter how small, to be grateful for each day. 2. Set clear goals and work on them consistently. Remember, progress, not perfection, is what matters. 3. Cultivate meaningful relationships. Surround yourself with people who inspire you and support your growth. 4. Learn from every experience. After each challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? 5. Keep an open mind. Sometimes, the best opportunities come disguised as problems. 6. Take care of your physical and mental health. A healthy body and mind will help you face challenges with more energy and clarity. 7. Practice self-reflection. Take time regularly to assess your life, your goals, and your progress. But if you think gratitude is powerful, wait until you discover the secret that has transformed the lives of thousands of people in just 1 year. Are you ready to take a quantum leap in your personal development? This video is one of the most special I've had the pleasure of creating for you. Not only because it summarizes much of my life philosophy, but also because I am a living example of what I share with you. In just 1 year, we've grown to form a community of over 350,000 people. Coincidence? I don't think so. I want you to know that every word I share with you is backed by hours of research. I take the time to cross-check information with scientific studies, opinions from psychologists and experts in various fields. Of course, I also blend in my own experiences and perspective. My goal has always been to make you reflect and show you that life is not simply black or white. There is an infinite rainbow of possibilities waiting to be discovered. However, and this is crucial, I don't want you to take my words as absolute truths. I encourage you to develop your own judgment. Research and nourish your mind with diverse sources of information. A valuable piece of advice I've received, and one that I now fully understand, is always contrast information. Don't settle for just one version of the facts. Build your own truth based on a broad exploration of ideas. Remember, all this knowledge is wonderful, but if you don't apply it, you will hardly change your reality. I invite you to watch this video as many times as you need. Each time you watch it, you might discover something new that resonates with your current situation. This video has reached you for a reason. I encourage you to share it with the people you love. It could be the spark that ignites positive change in their lives. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I attract abundance into my life," so I know who the victorious ones are who made it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications for more content like this in the future. Finally, if you value my work and want to support me, you can become an exclusive member of the channel and enjoy the benefits. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment. A big hug, and see you in the next video.